Welcome to another Gearcaster review. Today we're having a look at the new ExpressLander liquid fuel stove from Primus. The ExpressLander includes the stove, which is 6 ounces, pretty small and fits into the palm of your hand, including the hose. The two pack up together into the included nylon pouch, the Primus nylon pouch, which also includes the pump which fits into the fuel bottle. There's a heat shield which put under the stove to make the stove burn harder, and it works with any sort of Primus fuel bottle. I've got a 1-liter one here, and any white gas you can buy. I've got the MSR white gas here, but you could basically work with any white gas out there, whether it's Primus white gas or Coleman white gas or MSR gas, as you see here, so anything will work. So to start the stove, unscrew the fuel bottle, and a little tricky to get it open. But once you take the top off, put the pump inside the fuel bottle and make sure that you screw that pump in really tightly. You don't want to have any leaks there. And there's a fuel valve which you want to make sure is completely closed, and you turn that clockwise. You'll see a plus minus, and make sure that's shut all the way. Then you want to press down on the silver plate on top of the pump and to connect the stove hose that just slides right in with that silver plate down. Then you need to pump up the gas into the hose, so it takes about probably 20 pumps. Depends on how much fuel you have in there. I don't have much in here, so it's going to take a lot more to get the stove kind of ready to go, or the gas under enough pressure to come out through that hose. And once you have it all pumped, you want to make sure that the bottle is facing with on. There's a word on there, so the bottle is facing upwards with that on signature up as well too. Then you unfold the legs. There's 3 legs, so completely fold it open. It's pretty sturdy. You want to make sure you're on level ground and away from anything that's going to burn. Then the key here is you're going to open counterclockwise the valve just for 1 or 2 seconds to prime the stove, and you're going to see a bit of fuel dipping, kind of dripping out onto a white pad underneath the stove. You don't want to go much more than 1 or 2 seconds. Once you see that fuel start to drip, that's when you want to stop. Then you close the valve again and light up the stove to let it prime. And you'll see a big kind of yellow flame, and you'll kind of be freaked out that the whole stove is on fire, which is fine. You just want to let this prime for a couple minutes. And the key is you're going to start to listen for some air coming through. So as soon as you hear that air coming through and the flame is going to start to go out, you want to turn your valve back on. And this is when your stove is really going to start working. And what you're looking for is the yellow flame to go away and that pure white flame of that stove coming through. You'll see that happening. There we've got mainly just white flame. It's hard to see, but you can hear it kind of rushing out and you can feel that heat. And then on you go. Any test for me of a stove is how quickly that it's going to brew my coffee in the morning. That's key for me. This is about 8 minutes, and you can see the coffee is coming through. Primus says that it takes about 4.5 minutes to boil a liter of water. This was about 8 minutes, but I didn't have the heat shield underneath, and I didn't have a windscreen around it. It was pretty windy out. So I guess 8 minutes is about fair for the coffee. Percolating away. It's got to be the best thing first thing in the morning. So as soon as you're done using the stove, as soon as the coffee's done here, what you're really going to want to do is, once you're done, take everything off of the stove, and you're going to want to take your fuel bottle and turn it over till you see the off. You're going to see an off label, and what that's going to do is it's going to burn all that fuel that's in that hose, so that when you disconnect the stove, it's not going to pour all over your pack and you're going to have, liquid gas. So you might as well just have some coffee. It's going to take about a minute or 2 to burn off all that fuel that you've kind of pumped in there. So just be patient. Don't unhook it before it's ready, because otherwise you're going to have a big mess. Again, that's probably going to take a minute or 2 to burn all that extra fuel off. And you'll start to hear the air kind of coming through again. And once you can tell that that liquid is all starting to, or the fuel is all starting to burn off, you can go ahead and shut off the valve. So again, to shut off the valve, you go in a clockwise direction. It's got a plus and minus on the valve, so you'll be able to see that. So here I'm shutting off the valve. All the fuel is burned out. And once the valve's shut off, you're done. So if you don't mind playing around with liquid gas, then the ExpressLander stove from Primus is a great lightweight backcountry stove option for you.